And this movie affirmed to me why I don't watch every single new movie that comes on Hallmark Mysteries. Hello everyone, my name is Kendra, aka Can Renell on the internet, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new mystery, Nellie Knows Mysteries, A Fatal Engagement. And this movie affirmed to me why I don't watch every single new movie that comes on Hallmark Mysteries. I did not listen to my gut and suffered the consequences. So yeah, let's talk more about it. So before I get into all of my opinions, let's follow the structure. So let's talk about the synopsis. So when an advice columnist, Nellie, finds her childhood friend Dahlia's boyfriend, Blake, dead, she joins Detective Hogan to help find the killer. However, as suspicion creeps in, Dahlia becomes a prime suspect. So this movie follows the Hallmark mystery formula to a T, okay? To a T. There are predictable plots, right? So a murder happens. Wannabe sleuth decides to join in to try to figure out what the mystery, or solve the mystery. The detective decides to either join in on the fun, all the fun and games, or decides to push back the entire time until the amateur sleuth wins them over. And then there's a budding romance between the two lead characters. And then also the plot moves slow enough where we get some character development going on. So we get the background story of Nellie and why she's so nosy. But then also we sprinkle in some background about Mike, Detective Hogan, about why he moved to this small little town. And then of course, as every Hallmark mystery, the plot is wrapped up pretty nicely with a bow. The mystery solved, the murder solved. So beyond the mystery itself, I also like to talk about the themes and messages that I see in the movie. And so with this one, there were two themes that I saw, and it was the complexity of relationships and the impact of the past. And so when we talk about the complexity of relationships, we look at, there's a lot of different characters that I'll kind of walk through about their complexity and their relationships. I think this movie in particular, because it's such a small town and everybody knows everybody's business, it really did a good job of showing the complexities of relationships regardless of how well you think you know someone. So the first relationship I want to talk about is Paige and Connor. Paige and Connor are married. And so we see that their relationship is more complex. With any marriage, can be complex. What's going on underneath until we learn and get to know these people. And so Connor is a shopaholic and a banker with poor finance skills. In a relationship with Paige, who cheated her uncle. Okay, this is a match made in heaven. She cheated her uncle out of money for selling his house, but then she feels bad about it and chooses to get a second job in order to pay him back. And we see that their marriage, when the police come, Nellie and Detective Mike come in to interview them, we see that their marriage is on the rocks because they are not sleeping in the same room, right? They are sleeping in two separate rooms and they're kind of living two separate lives. And so we see that complexity of the relationship, though from the face value, it appears to be this loving marriage that is working out, and it is definitely not. We also see that even though that Connor is a shopaholic with poor finance skills, he also still wants to protect his wife, knowing everything that he did to cause the domino effect to fall in this marriage. He still is choosing to protect his wife from a blackmailer and goes as far as murder. The next relationship I want to talk about is Dahlia and Blake's. Blake, this was a complex relationship, and it really shows that, you know, sometimes love makes you really blind to the red flags that can occur with the person you love. And so Blake was basically using Dahlia, and was likely only with her for her money, because he didn't have no money, his business was failing, but somehow all of his bills got paid. But we also see that Dahlia was really in love with him. I don't know why, but she was really in love with him. But even though she was in love with him, she was still convinced that he was cheating on her, right? Because she allowed other people in her life to convince her that he was cheating on her, when that was not the thing that he was doing. He was doing other things, but it wasn't that. And it also shows that complexity of that relationship. While you love someone and you're blind to some of the things that he's actually doing, you're allowing someone else to convince you what's going on in your relationship. The other relationship I wanted to talk about was Colleen and Dahlia's. Colleen is Dahlia's stepsister, and Colleen was very overprotective with Dahlia. She and the mama was part of the reason why Dahlia thought that Blake was cheating on her, because they just didn't like him. They didn't like Blake, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Blake was using Dahlia, okay? And Colleen had every right not to like him, and so to protect her sister, Colleen decided to start this rumor, and also convince her stepmom to hire a PI to follow Blake to catch him in the act, or catch him in the act of something, to convince Dahlia that he was a bad person, so they could, you know, break up the relationship. The next relationship I want to talk about is Nellie and Michael's. Michael is this new detective that's coming into town, and this is his first case that he's working on, and he clearly wants to, you know, walk the line of doing the right things and following procedures, but then at the same time he allows Nellie to walk over him and basically, you know, allows her into the case. And then on the other hand, we see Nellie, who wants to be a lone wolf. She has been a lone wolf for such a long time, but then she wants to continue to butt into Mike's case. And it's just like, so are you a lone wolf or are you not? Okay. And then we see Michael and the sheriff. So the sheriff trusts Michael enough to make him lead on this case, but not enough where she doesn't invite Nellie to be a part of this conversation, a part of this investigation. Because basically behind the scenes, we didn't see these conversations, but behind the scenes, the sheriff kept nudging Michael to Nellie because she is nosy and knows everything. At the same time, like, she's a sheriff and understands that, like, there are procedures when it comes to any sort of police investigation, whether it's murder, whether it's a robbery, or anything else, and she's allowing those lines to be blurred. And then the final relationship I want to talk about is Dahlia and Zinnia, and I just made the connection that both of their names are flower names. So Zinnia is Dahlia's mother. And we see that, again, Zinnia, rightfully so, is on the anti-Blake train. Again, rightfully so, because Blake is using Zinnia's money, basically, to live. And she doesn't like Blake at all, so she and Colleen got together and got a PI to follow Blake around. Despite not wanting Blake to be the person that Dahlia ends up with, Zinnia still chooses to make sure that the PI purchases the ring that Blake was planning to purchase for Dahlia and propose to, so that nobody else gets that ring. And so we see that complicated relationship between mom, daughter. So the second theme, which is the impact of the past, I see two things here kind of playing into this. And the first is Nellie and how she moves about in this world since her fiance died. And so we find out that Nellie is choosing to be happy, almost toxically so, but is choosing happiness to move forward and attack life, which is a great thing. I think choosing joy and choosing happiness in the face of evil, death, and all of the bad things that can go wrong in life is a strong and a bold, not a bold, it is bold, but it's also a very strong choice to make too, because like it can be very easy to get stuck in what happened to you, and then when you're choosing to find joy, find happiness, find peace despite everything that you've been to, I think it's a very strong choice, and I really commend her for that she did not allow the death of her fiance to you know, keep her in the past. And I value that. I love that for her, truly. And then we also see Mickey's divorce and the impact of the past. If he had not gotten a divorce, he would not be in this town, trying new things, learning new things about himself. And so I think that those two situations really impacted how they are moving in the world today. Let's talk about my opinion. So this movie was not at all my cup of tea, like at all. As soon as it started going, I was just like, oh no. And I was just like, this is exactly why I don't watch every single movie. And it was just like, so I know that all of the mysteries that Hallmark Mysteries create is a cozy mystery. I know that. But some of the cozy mysteries are better than others, and this was just too cozy for me, right? Like, Nellie was a little, I know I say this all the time about some of their characters, but hey, it's the truth. Nellie was very annoying to me in the beginning, because I'm just like, girl, now why are you here? But again, once I learned her why and why she does things, it helped me root for her a little more, but she didn't get less annoying. And I also thought that some of her happiness was a little toxic. I'm just like, so we're just gonna ignore. There's one thing to choose happiness and choose joy despite the bad thing happening. It's another thing to be happy and like pretending like this doesn't, like bad things don't happen. And so like there was that fine line that she walked that really bothered me, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't know if I can get behind you, sis. And I also didn't love how Nellie kept like tampering with evidence on those different, like that pen she picked up. I'm just like, that could have been the killer's. And now your fingerprints are all over it. But you know, I understand that this is a cozy mystery, and I'm gonna just push past it. I find myself not guessing, being able to guess the mystery on movies that I just don't like. And I think I didn't guess what this mystery was because I wasn't paying attention, to be quite clear. Just like Jazz Ramsey's movie, I didn't guess the mystery, but I also didn't guess this one because I was just like, no, this movie is not for me. So on a mystery scale of 1 to 5, I would give this movie a 1.5. That half star is for the mystery that I did not solve, and likely because I was not paying attention. But like I said, this movie was not for me. Should not have watched it, and yet I did. So will I be watching this again? No. If they make any new movies, I probably won't watch it. And this was just too cozy. It was too cozy. I would not recommend this movie. If you like really cozy mysteries, this movie is for you, and I would recommend it for you. But if you don't like super cozy movies, this ain't it. But I think it would be great for some background noise if you just want to put something on while you're doing something else. I think this movie is perfect for that. So thank you for joining me on another Hallmark Mystery review. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Follow me on all things social media at CanCamRonell, and I hope to see you next time. Happy sleuthing. Or Mickey's cake. Girl, I don't know. They keep, every time this hits, this tracks every time where I'm not ready when I sit down with my notes. Okay. Because dahlia is like my favorite flower, but that has nothing to do with this. Anyways, but I guess they can do that because it's such a small town. Anyways, you know, leeway, the leap to make